PES 2006 Season Downgrade Patch. Is it a nostalgia trip worth taking, or just a pricey throwback? This mod pack takes us back to the legendary 2006 season, complete with classic rosters, iconic faces, and even those retro PES6 menu sounds. If you lived through that era, this patch is like stepping into a time machine. And if you didn't, well, it might not hit the same. Personally, I was glued to football back in 2006. The epic battles, the legendary players, the unforgettable moments. This patch taps right into it. But then I had this realization: 2006 was almost 20 years ago. Man, where did the time go? Now, there's one big thing that separates this patch from other mod packs like Virtua Red or Funrex. It's a paid patch. And that means we gotta ask ourselves, is it worth the price? Because when you're paying for a mod, expectations should be higher, right? So, did this patch deliver? Well, the nostalgia was incredible, but I couldn't shake the feeling that, I don't know, it's a bit underwhelming for a $15 package. Now let's dive in and break it all down, the good, the bad, and whether this mod is worth your money. But before we do so, if you enjoy my content, then I would highly appreciate it if you drop a like. It takes nothing away from you, yet helps me grow on this platform. If there's one thing this patch absolutely nails, it's the nostalgia factor. I believe the mid-2000s were the golden era for football. Teams weren't obsessed with pressing systems or robotic efficiency like today. Instead, they played with flair, personality, and a bit of chaos, the kind of football that made you fall in love with the game. For older fans like me, this patch taps into something deeper. See, we all have that one era that felt special, when football wasn't just a sport, but an obsession. The problem? Well, going back to old football games isn't always fun. Yeah, Pro Evolution Soccer 6 is a classic, but let's be real, it has aged by this point. The controls feel stiff, animations are clunky, and nostalgia glasses make it seem better than it actually is. That's why I was hyped as hell when I saw this particular patch. Finally, a way to relive that legendary season, but with Pro Evolution Soccer 21 visuals and mechanics. One of the best parts? Well, just looking at the squads. I had a blast rediscovering forgotten lineups and going, oh damn, I forgot he played there. Like Inter Milan in 2006 was absolutely stacked. Adriano, Ibrahimovic, Recoba, Vieira, Figo, Zanetti, Samuel, Toldo. Damn, what a squad. I ran back classic Liverpool matches with Gerrard, Crouch, Rize and my countryman Jerzy Dudek. Then I checked La Liga when Villarreal and Valencia were actually scary teams, and seeing Cristiano and Messi before their primes, chef's kiss. So from a pure nostalgia standpoint, this patch is fantastic. It's an emotional time machine for anyone who grew up with football in the 2000s. And credit where it's due, the squad accuracy is really well done here. Player stats feel authentic since they are based on Football Manager 07, and the modders even added new playstyles, which is a cool touch. But, and here comes the but, some teams feel rather incomplete. Take Chelsea for instance, they don't even have enough bench players to fill all the substitution slots, and small details like that can break the immersion a little bit. Now, let's talk about gameplay, because, well, for 2025 standards of Pro Evolution Soccer 21 modded versions, yeah, it ain't great. Out of the box, you get two options: the vanilla PES21 gameplay based on CPY version 1.0 and additionally a custom PES 2006 gameplay mod. And honestly, neither of them really delivers. The vanilla gameplay is just bad at this point. It's the same outdated version that was quickly outclassed by modders. AI is predictable, defenders have those annoying catch-up mechanics, and the overall flow feels rather robotic compared to modern gameplay mods. So, what about the PES 2006 custom gameplay mod? Well, I don't know, something about it just felt off. I can't even put my finger on it, but it just didn't click for me. Maybe it's because I just came off reviewing Holland's soccer game mod, which is exceptional. Or maybe it's because I play on Fuma and this gameplay perhaps wasn't designed for that. I don't know, but either way it didn't feel quite right. The good news? Well, you can basically slap any gameplay mod you like on this patch. I ended up using Holland's soccer game, which made a huge difference. But even then, it still didn't feel as polished as it does on the Steam version of Pro Evo 21. By the way, if you are in the market for Steam version of Pro Evolution Soccer 21, check out the link in the video description. Anyway, bottom line, the lack of strong default gameplay option is a bit of a letdown in PES 2006, especially for a paid mod. When you're charging $15 for a patch, expectations naturally go up. Sure, whether that's a lot depends on your budget, but compared to the Pro Evo modding scene, where we get incredible mod packs for free or with just optional support, well, it's a big ask. And that brings us to the elephant in the room: pricing. How exactly does this patch handle monetization? Is it a one-time purchase, or are we perhaps looking at a recurring subscription? Well, to access PES 2006, you first need to purchase a gold membership on Patreon, which costs $15. However, after the most recent update, continued access to the patch requires any paid Patreon tier, which basically means that with the cheapest tier, which is like $3, you can keep it relatively low cost. But it's something to keep in mind. I am personally not a huge fan of this kind of monetization, but at least they are not trying to charge us $15 every single month, because that was my initial fear, and let's be honest, that would be flat out outrageous. Why would a monthly $15 charge be outrageous? Well, because in terms of sheer content, this patch is quite lightweight by Pro Evo modding standards. If you've been following my channel, you're probably used to massive mod packs like Virtua Red, Fanorex or Mega Patch, which can eat up anywhere from 110GB to a huge 450GB of storage. In comparison, PES 2006, including the base game, takes up just 60GB on my disk. That's insanely small for a modded PES 21 experience. For some of you, this might be actually a positive thing. If you're tired of clearing out hard drive to make space for every new mod pack, this patch is refreshingly compact, right? No crazy downloads, no endless installations, it's quite neat from this perspective. But if you are like me, someone who prioritizes having a feature-packed experience and doesn't mind downloading 300GB of mods, well, then PES 2006 can feel a bit underwhelming in terms of content. Let's break it down. First we got stadiums, and here the patch includes 51 stadiums in the Konami folder, plus 4 extra Premier League venues, 2 La Liga stadiums, 1 Bundesliga arena, and Berlin's Olympia Stadium. That's a pretty limited selection, but thankfully you can expand it by downloading additional stadiums separately. Next we got lighting and graphics, and I think this is another weak point of this patch. Compared to Virtua Red and Fanorex, the lighting in PES 2006 feels quite basic. Visually, the game looks a little bit more dated than heavily modded Football Live or Pro Evo 21. And then we have faces and player models. The well-known stars of 2006 mostly have high-quality custom faces and they look fantastic. Ronaldo, Messi, Crouch, Raul, no complaints here. But when you dig a little bit deeper into team rosters, you will quickly find a lot of generic faces, especially for lesser known players. Even some big teams have players with default faces, which is an immersion breaker for me. The creators are gradually adding more, but I think they are doing so at a slower pace than ideal. To be fair, making quality face models for players from back 2006 is probably more difficult than for modern footballers, but still, given the price tag of this patch, I expected a bit more. That said, despite its relatively lightweight approach, PES 2006 does come with some nice little details. For instance, we have accurate kits from that era, the classic PES 6 menu sounds and soundtrack, which instantly hit you with that nostalgia, scoreboards for some leagues, authentic balls from 2006. So while the mod is missing some of the depth of other major patches, it at least captures the vibe of the mid-2000s football quite well. And finally, let's talk about Master League. If you're considering this patch, chances are that you want to take your favorite classic team through multiple seasons and rewrite the history, right? On the surface, that's totally possible. Master League functions just fine. However, from what I have played, it's very vanilla in terms of transfer logic and negotiations. PES 2006 lacks the career depth that patches like Mega Patch, UML or FunRX bring to their versions. So while it's still enjoyable, don't expect an overhauled, more immersive career mode. It plays pretty much like default vanilla PES 21 Master League. And hey, that might not bother you at all, but I wanted to point it out so you don't go in expecting a deeply refined Master League experience and then get disappointed. So to answer the question, is this patch worth the price? Well, as always, it depends. You should get PES 2006 if you love mid-2000s football nostalgia, you don't mind some generic faces here and there, and a bit of a limited stadium selection. And if you are okay with paying $3 a month to keep access after the initial $15 purchase. But if you are after a fully packed, ultra-modded experience with cutting-edge gameplay tweaks and a huge content library, you might find this one a little bit underwhelming. Personally, I've had a blast reliving classic matchups and testing out legendary squads. However, the vanilla Master League and lack of depth in some areas make me question how long I would stick with it for a full-fledged career mode. That said, I respect the work put into this patch. It's a solid base and hopefully the devs keep expanding it over time. Without patches like this one, we would have no way to replay retro eras of football on modern engines. And for that reason alone, I am glad to support the project like PES 2006. Now, what about you? Have you played PES 2006? Do you think it's worth the price? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, it helps a ton. And if you want more football gaming content from me, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Anyway, that's all from me in this video. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.